All right. Good morning. It's a nice Saturday morning to be here and smell of the barbecue for people online and on TV won't be able to enjoy the smell. So that's the next generation of the technology. After we are done with Instagram and everything else, smellogram is the next one.
Yeah.
Type in. So this is our part of our monthly chef knife demo. July we have every month, last Saturday of every month from 11 to 12. We have one of our great local chefs joining us. That's on top of our quarterly events that we hold here, which we invite about 12 to 15 other brands. Next one for Q3 here is going to be on August 23rd with National Knife Day. So we'll have 9 brands here that make basically the majority of knives, outdoor knives in the US, and kitchen knives, of course, in there. So today is my pleasure to introduce Chef Briel. He's one of the local guys. So even though he was born in East Coast, grew up in Hillsborough, and then my understanding fell in love with barbecue, grilling, and smoking, and the whole experience back in the COVID
Yeah.
years. And
Yeah.
I love the way he describes it. As everybody else went after sourdough, he decided to go after barbecue.
Yeah.
So that's a great one. And just bringing a little bit of the southern details and some southern activities back into Northwest and mixing it up, obviously, with local angle. Uh, Today we are excited because Chef is not only bringing some knife skills around uh, uh, getting prepared, specifically around brisket, which is I know anybody that tasted and experienced brisket doesn't can relate to it, but also has a barbecue outside, the grill outside, so we get a chance to see what happens at the other end of the experience, and it's throwing in out other vegetables, mushroom, and things like that to expand the full experience of a grilling Sunday. And I think one of the things that he highlights is his love of barbecue and food came from connecting with the family and creating another place to do that, which is very close to my heart and our heart in Steelport around bringing people together. It's not just cooking for sake of filling your hunger, but really creating an enjoyable uh, experience. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chef. Just a highlight that Chef has also recently has started doing pop-ups in the town. Now the latest pop-up is a more permanent location at the yard on Clay and 11th, is it? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
Clay and 11th, it's kind of a place built up around the barbecue and
Yeah.
grilling. So
Yeah.
over to you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. How are you guys doing today? Good. 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 So today, I'm going to just show you how we break down our briskets over at Briel's Barbecue. Um, so we try to use as much byproduct as possible, and we do trim very aggressively, just because we will use all the straps for burgers and sausage and everything else, and in this economy, and the price of brisket and everything, yeah, you got to be able to move everything. So I'm not going to talk your guys' ear off. I'm kind of just going to show you step by step on kind of how we get after it. So week by week, we break at least about 10 to 12 of these down for a pop up. So I'm fortunate people love brisket, and they keep coming back for it. So all right, then let's get into it. And hey, don't hesitate if you guys have questions or need me to slow down. Um, Please be like, oh, just go back, repeat that, please. All right. All right, then. Pop it in the freezer at all? Yes, yes, yeah. So I had it sitting on ice for like the last couple hours. The worst thing you can do is try to trim a warm brisket. Like that's you're just gonna be dealing with a lot of soft fat, and then you're just gonna get upset at yourself. You know what I mean? Because that's not so. I usually try to pop in the freezer for maybe about 20-30 minutes. Like I said, keyword try to pop in the freezer about. Sometimes we just have to get after it, and and just make it happen. So yeah. All right, then. So today we are working with a Brant US Prime. USD Prime. So get what is the most affordable for you. You know what I mean? Like I started with Walmart briskets, and we're just breaking those down because I just knew I was gonna mess those up. So so I've gotten to the point where just to kind of keep up with like some of the other restaurants out here, and still be able to push a very good product. So we just actually just bumped up to Prime, and I like to think we do a pretty good job cooking these. And at the end of it, you guys will see. And then I need your guys' honest reviews on that, you know, if it's pretty good or not. But all right, let's get into it. All right. So like I said, prime brisket. Brisket is, so there's two points to a whole brisket. Not sorry, two muscles to a whole brisket. So you have your flat right here, which is like flat, aka lean. There's not too much, like I said, fat on this side. It's not as flavorful as the point right here. So it's about half and half. So your flat's gonna be the skinnier side, and your point's gonna kind of be the more narrow side. So let's crack this open. I like to take my knife, and today I am blessed with a Steelport slicer. I'm excited because I haven't worked with a very sharp knife like this in a while, so we'll see. It could be really good or really bad. We'll see. Um, so yeah, let's get after it. So right here underneath, I like to flip the brisket over. We have a deco. That's what we like to call it right here. And just to make it easy, just so we kind of don't score any of the backside, I will take my knife and I will just make one cut across that decal, which is the hard fat. From there, I'll take my knife and then I'll come just open up the plastic. That is sharp as heck, I'll tell you that. Yeah. And then just for sanitary reason, we just try to keep one hand dry, one hand on the brisket. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You got to do what you got to do. So we like to fold it out, take it out. We'll fold it, keep all those juices inside, and then dispose of it. Okay, so here we go. Um, just right off the bat, just seeing that there is a big score on the backside. I haven't seen one of these in months, so you know, so that's good. Not good. That's not good. So from this point, this is just gonna burn off over the 12-hour cook that we're gonna do on this brisket. So we're just gonna take that off right now. Anything that's kind of abnormal, like this silver skin right here, I'm not too necessarily worried about this silver skin because we are gonna have this brisket on for about 12 to 14 hours. So all this stuff's kind of just gonna burn off, you know what I mean, on the bottom. So I'm not too necessarily worried about that, and I'm kind of just gonna leave that alone. But I am worried about this because this is just gonna hang, burn, and then the end product is just gonna be shriveled up. So we are going to take that off. So I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to try to lay as flat as I can with this brisket because we want to try to keep everything flat. And then I'm just going to come from this side too. And then that comes off. And there's not much. It's very unfortunate that we got that score like that, but you know, we just got to make it work. And my mom always told me, you know, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So, and then so with this deco right here, we are going to just keep, like I said, keep it flat again. So we're gonna take our knife and we're gonna just make a slice straight down and just try to keep it flat. You can take this out because it's just gonna just harden up during a cook. Um, Not harden up. It's gonna want to render, but it won't fully render. So it's kind of just there, and it's annoying when it's on the cutting board when it's done. So we try to take that out, um, but still try to keep the brisket flat. So right there, and we use all this trim, all this deco fat for like sausage and then burgers as well too. So getting back to, you know, trying not to waste anything. At this point, I'm still kind of looking for anything abnormal, and on it, and this looks pretty good right here. So we were going to make one flip, and then we are going to get after the top side. So right now we have a mohawk, and if you guys can see, you can kind of see that mohawk. And we are going to take this out. So right now we're going to take this out, and then we're going to start kind of getting into our shape. So everything we do, every slice that we try to make it, we try to end with a curve underneath the brisket. We want to have our curvy sides. You're gonna hear me say curvy a lot. So the curvy sides simply just because we want that with thermodynamics, we want that air to flow over, and we don't want anything hanging. Like we don't want anything kind of hanging off or super thin because it's just gonna end up burning over that 12 to 14 hours. So we try to make stuff as thick as possible, as thick as we can with briskets. But like I said, sometimes you get this, and we'll trim some of this off, and we'll do our best, try to, give us the, I like to call it like 2-finger rule. And we'll get in that in a sec. But right now we're gonna take this mohawk off. So there's this nothing but fat right here, and if you guys can see, um, it starts right here. So we are gonna make one cut along here down, and I'll try to do it because this I usually trim for me and not everybody else, but here we go. And we try to we want our product to be the same level from the flat side to the point side. This point is very big, so we will try our best to try to make it the same level, just so everything cooks evenly. There is a lot of fat in that point, so that point pretty much just cooks itself. And then you're kind of playing catch up with the flat, and then you have your, a 10-20 degree difference sometimes. Um, and you don't want that, because then you're overcooking that. So we are going to make this cut right here, and we're going to try to keep our knife as flat. And then we're going to come, and with this big glob right here, since we use so much straps for sausage and burgers, I'm just gonna take this off right now. So like I said, all of this is going to burger and sausage. So with here, we're kind of getting our shape a little bit. You can kind of see the vision. Our next cut, we are going to start getting our shape. And we are going to make one cut and try to knock this too thin of a side out. So I'm sorry.
Would you never cut it into smaller pieces so that each piece is like the same thickness?
You can. There's some people that do that. We've never done that. I know. I think in like some of the southern states, you can buy just a point by itself, and you can buy a flat by itself. So kind of whatever you want. Brisket's not a high commodity out here. So they're not gonna. A lot of shops aren't gonna sit here and separate the two. It's like. But if you're lucky to find one, always get the point. I think the point's probably my favorite bike for sure. The flat, it's the flat. It's just flat. So, okay. So I like to kind of just to double check. I like to take the back of my knife, and then I'll make a line straight down here to kind of see what shape and kind of visualize kind of what I'm after. So I like this cut right here. I like that line. And then I'm going to very confidently make one incision and go straight down that line. Right there. That goes in our strap pile. And then you see this pointy edge right here. We were just going to round that out.
Chef, all the rounding is for your airflow and making sure that the dripping happens in the right place.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So we just, like I said, we just want to be able to round it, because we don't want, it's a long cook. Like I said, 12 to 14 hours. We don't want anything kind of poking out and kind of just curling up and then just getting charred up. It's brisket.
For uniform bark.
Yeah.
You have spots that aren't getting the smoke, that it doesn't get the bark, ashy bark.
Yeah. And it's just a even cook. Absolutely. Like we always say, like the best brisket you give yourself the best chance at making the best brisket possible. It starts right here in the trim. Without a good trim, your brisket's not going to turn out the way you want. Well, that perfect, brisket where you can see, all the pieces and all the fat in between the point and all of that. So we are still rounding it out. So I'm going to come from the top side right here. And then, like I said, every cut that we try to do towards the edge, we're going to try to round to the bottom. So here. And you may sit there and see some things that you will touch up, or like I did not make this line as straight as I want it to. So I'm just going to come back through. And I want to come back through with my knife slightly inward because we want all the meat to be covered with fat over the top. And I'll show you kind of the thickness of fat that we want once we kind of start getting into kind of taking off this side fat, which is just like a quarter of an inch. But right now we're just still trying to get our shape. That goes in the strap. And from here, like I said, this is looking good right now. Like I said, give yourself like I said, the 2-finger rule of thickness that you want for the point, and it's not quite there right here. So I'm gonna take a little bit from this flat. By a little bit, I mean a lot, because what you guys, and you're like, there's a lot of money we're just, throwing away. But no, like I said, we make sausage and burgers from this. So I'm gonna take this out. And that goes right in the flat. So now we're getting to the point where it's about 2 fingers. And from here, we're going to start getting our shape. So right here, trying to make everything still curvy. So we are going 45 degrees, 45. And we're going to come to this thick side right here. Same thing. And you see this big raw of fat right here. We're gonna end up taking that down. So don't worry, we don't want to eat that, and it won't render down either. So you're just gonna end up cooking, and you'll be able to tell once if you guys get the opportunity to cook a brisket, it will render a little bit, and then it will just be white strip all the way through. So right here, we're still building our shape, so we're gonna come back through and still trying to make things curvy. Start from this side.
So much art goes into brisket.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And also have to congratulate. It's the first time in our 2 years of doing this demo that anybody has used 4 cutting boards.
Yes.
Yes,
we take up a lot of space, and there's multiple knives you can use. I use a slicer. I started with a 7-inch Boeing knife too. And then it's just whatever you really have at home. I've sat there and I've been down bad, and I've used a chef knife because I left my knives over at the house or whatever it may be. So there is an edge right here, a little slight corner that I'm just gonna end up rounding off again. So I'm just gonna come here. And as you can see, I did nick this right here, and that's nothing because we're just gonna take this line out right here. Knife slightly inward, and then we're just right back to it. Okay, I'm liking this shape a lot. So now we are going to start tackling kind of the top fat. So on this top fat, we want to try to shoot for a quarter of an inch. So we want around, if you guys can sit here and see, roughly around this much amount of fat. So we have time for it to render out. And you don't want to eat all this. You don't. So, and for all the fat, we will separate this from the meat, and we'll render all this down, and we hold our cooked briskets in that, and we use it just for like to saute onions and everything else. So everything gets used on this brisket. So after tackling this, before we tackle this, I'm gonna start making my incisions, and still same thing. We're just trying to make it curvy. So we're gonna come here, And I like to just take a little off at a time, kind of just see what I'm working with. And you can always kind of see, but this side can always be a little bit thinner and you can't see that. I know you can take this side out right here to kind of see how much fat you're working on. I just prefer to sit here and get that rounded side because I like to have this protection of fat when it's on the smoker, because this is the side that's going to go against the wall. You know, heat bounces off metal, and then those wall spots are hotter than everywhere else on the pit. So I like to have a little protection. So still making it round.
Is this particular fat the same thing as beef tallow?
Yes, it is. Yep. So don't go buy beef tallow. Just trim a brisket, render it down, and you'll be good. So it's the same thing. Don't be scared to pick it up. Don't be scared to kind of get aggressive with it. And then if you're just not sure about how far down, you can always just go straight into it. Just make one big incision, not one big incision, but an incision to kind of just see, you know, how much fat is on each side. So there's still a lot here. So I am going to start knocking out these lines right here. So as you can tell, we started building our lines of kind of thick fat or smaller fat. So I'm going to start knocking these lines out. We're still at probably maybe close to an inch. So I'm going to be a little bit aggressive right here. So I am going to, let's see, I'm used to doing it with me right here. So we are going to start knocking this out. So I'm going to take my knife and try to keep it as flat as possible. And I would say use your angles. So bring your brisket to the side of the table and be able to kind of maneuver that knife to how you need it. Because if it's up here, you can only go down so far. And if it's here, you can kind of get this. So like I said, small strokes here.
Great knife.
Yes, great knife.
I can see that.
Yeah. So we are here, still taking it out. Still catching my angle from being off the table. Just like that. And then right back here, I'm not sure if you guys can see. Can you guys see? Okay. Still making it curvy. You can always kind of feel, because there's just hard fat here. You can always kind of tell, okay, this is a little bit thicker than your soft fat right here on the side. So still. Taking it down. It's a little repetitive, so I'm sorry, but how many of you guys have cooked a brisket before? 1, 2, 3, 4? Never. You have to cook one. You have to cook one. I say before it's all said and done, you have to cook one. I think it's one of the most rewarding things. I will say my very first brisket I cooked, it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't bad. So, and then my next 5 after that was terrible, absolutely terrible. So I was like, okay, you know, I think I could do this thing. And then next 5, terrible. So still taking out this fat. Trying to.
Your first one on the smoker, or you start somewhere else?
It was on a Traeger actually. Don't tell any. You guys, that does not leave this room, okay? All right. My barbecue friends would never let me know. But yes, I did start on Traeger. When I remember when I had just moved over to Dallas, outside of Salem. Um, there was a newer development. There's other guy, right? Well, my neighbor, he ended up getting a brand new Traeger, and he didn't want to fix his old one, so he just put it out there for free. And all it needed was like um, a $14 piece on off of Amazon. Yeah, for the auger, and I ended up just picking that up, put it together in the living room, turned it on, smoked out my whole living room. My girlfriend at the time was very upset with me, but you know what? It's for the love of the game.
What should you look for in a smoker if you're trying to get into like smoking a brisket?
Yeah, so it kind of I would say, like, ask yourself, how much time do you have? Like, how much like you want conveniency, or you want to kind of be able to kind of get after that authentic kind of smoking. Nothing's wrong with Traegers whatsoever. I think they're so convenient, and I think nowadays they're putting out some great products right now. Like I said, that does not leave this room, and don't let any of my friends know that. But no, but yes, it's like, if you got time, then I would definitely 100% have to say go with a wood fed smoker, offset smoker, kind of something like that. They make back home, they make backyard models, so don't think you need to get something that big. But yeah, you're just kind of busy and you want to throw, a pork shoulder on early in the morning and then get off work, and have, pulled pork sandwiches for the family. Then definitely get a Traeger, because all you got to do is, and I think nowadays, like, they make technology. Well, of course they make technology, but the technology nowadays, you can change temps from your phone, and all of that, and that's so convenient, honestly, because not everyone has 10, 12 hours to sit here and sit around a smoker. I don't, and I still do it. So um, so we're still trying to knock out this fat, and we're trying our best not to scalp it. So when we scalp it, means we kind of just take it off a little, like we get down to the meat a little bit too much, like too close. Um, and at that point, it's like we want that perfect bite. So that perfect bite is when you sit there and you slice a brisket and you can see that line of fat rendered down and it's caramelized, and then you have the pepper over the top, and then it's hard to describe besides like like you know what I mean? It's, yeah. I like to sit there and say it's the perfect bite. So we're still kind of just taking this fat. So I'm still kind of coming from the side, kind of seeing what I'm working with. And they make these knives so sharp, so it makes this so easy too. Because let me tell you, I've worked with some dull knives having to get through 10 or 12, and it seems like they're just not sharpening. And I'm kind of just going back through, seeing if anything I need to touch up, I think I'm going to touch this side up here in a bit, but still. Ron, I don't think you're going to get this knife back from me. All right. Yeah. Okay. I think we're about there. I'll probably say yes. I like this beam of fat, and I've tried to shoot for this beam all the way across. Like I said, if you guys have any question on, am I there yet? Am I at that quarter of an inch? Just make an incision, just straight down. You can simply just go like this and kind of just pick it up and kind of see where you're at. So, and that's it. Don't be scared. You're cooking. I've noticed, like, I'm a little high over here, so we were just still gonna continue to, and I just scalped it right here. So sometimes you just gotta let it be. But we're just gonna put that fat right over here. But other than that, I like this. If you have any kind of question about your shape, flipping it over is never gonna lie whatsoever. You can kind of see where it's kind of a little bit uneven, and that's okay. But I'm kind of more worried about things kind of just hanging off, little loose trims and all of that. So We were going right here. Going knife slightly inward still, and then we're just shaping it back up, and that looks a lot cleaner.
Where do the burnt ends come from?
So the burnt ends are always going to be right here where the underneath where the mohawk is.
Oh.
Yeah. So your burnt ends are always going to be right here. So you have your decal on this backside. Your burnt ends are always going to be opposite of your decal. Yeah. I think that's this. Yeah, we're just kind of going back through, rounding stuff off.
So, like on that side,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
not seeing the meat at the bottom. Is that okay?
I'm not seeing the meat right here. Yes, yes, that's okay. I like to leave a little bit of fat on this side, simply just because, like I said, the I like to have that protection on this, um, just against the wall, because, like I said, like your burnings are always going to be right here, and we don't want to char this. Like this is the best bite on the brisket, so you give your favorite people this one. You give that, family. You give that, family-in-law or cousin that you really don't like. You kind of give them stuff on this side. You don't, So you save your burn ends for your most special people. Yeah, I would. This would be a brisket that would go on our smoker, and we cook briskets like this every day. So we try to make 12 of these, like 10 to 12 of these, look just the same. Sometimes, like I said, you get what you get, and you can't throw fit. So it's one thing kind of cooking one brisket. Um, it's another thing trying to cook all 12 all at the same time, and trying to, because brisket's very finicky. You can have 10 briskets on, 12 briskets on, and they'll all cook differently. So it's kind of knowing your equipment more than anything, knowing how to work your fire, and knowing just how to kind of, I like to say, just use your instincts, just feel. I mean, your touch is never gonna sit here and lie to you. You can probe, you can look at numbers. I wouldn't say really get too tight on, like, hung on doneness. Like, 195 is, that's it, or 203, like that's it. I have to pull. I only use my thermometer to really kind of just know where I'm at in my stall cook phase, and I'm going to take you guys outside in a little bit and kind of see kind of what that, what briskets on look like, because we got about 8 going right now. So yeah, just use your instincts more than anything. With that, with your thermometer, we're kind of feeling for just, how much tension it is going into the proteins and all of that. So yes, so this I like this.
Wrap, no wrap, boil those.
So with mine, I like to I'll kind of just walk you through the whole process if you guys don't mind. So yeah. I'm sure you guys are like, how do you cook your brisket? So no cameras or anything. No. But I will start off very dirty, like dirty smoke. So I like to build from inefficient fires to efficient fires. So I won't start my smoker and let that come up to temp um, before throwing my meat on or anything like that. So I let my my uh, my fire come up to temp and my smoker come up to temp with my briskets on. People say, and it was a big thing maybe about, when I was first learning, that dirty smoke's bad. Um, Brisket is a big chunk of meat, and meat really only takes on smoke within those, like, first 3-4 hours. So we only use dirty smoke in the first two, like those first 2 hours, while we sit there and we build our um, efficient fires. So inefficient, so our logs are tight together, um, and our doors closed, and it's just kind of smoldering, just kind of getting started, low flames, getting really just good smoke flavor on it, and from there we'll let that come down to just coals, and then we'll do another one just like it. So we try to get two. Like I said, depending on kind of when we get on and what other stuff we got to do, maybe we'll do one, but we try to do two of those types of fires. And at that point, that first fire should get you around 175. That second fire should get you to around like 225. At that point, your brisket should be hard, and it won't be kind of soft and wiggly. And I'll show you right now because ours just tightened up and we're about to go into the stall. Um, we want to set ourselves up for the stall. So at that point, we're 225, 250 until we approach that stall. And the stall is when the brisket is sweating out all the moisture. So it's kind of protective. Like we're trying to push you through. Um, and you're trying to release that moisture. So it's just cooling off the briskets essentially while we're just trying to push it through. So at that point during the stall, we'll bump up to like 275. So at 275, we're gonna be sitting in that stall probably for about probably like 4 hours, anywhere from like probably 4 to 6. Like I've had some briskets only spend an hour and a half in the stall and push through, and I've had some just want to be there for about 5 hours. So it just kind of depends, you know what I mean? So you try your best to shape all your briskets the same way. You try your best to keep your fire consistent. I think the most important thing right behind trimming is your fire management, and just knowing how to understand what temps you can what you need to beat at, what wood you're throwing on, how thick is the wood, how dense is the wood. So yeah, there's kind of a lot that kind of goes into it for sure, but very. I use white oak. So yeah, I use what is the most available to me. I'm very fortunate. I got a ex lumber jack. Yeah, ex lumberjack. He uh, uh, he just loves chopping wood. He yeah, he loves chopping wood, and I met him before I moved up here, and I'm fortunate enough I get wood for a very good price compared to some of the competitors up here. So very fortunate, and yeah, that's a blessing because I mean we're buying quarts at a time, and half quarts, and I have to take an axe to most of it, um, which is good sometimes, and it seems like people online like to see me split wood, so um, so it makes good content, you know. Yeah, yeah. Kind of. You can kind of tell what's in a like wetter wood. You know what I mean? Like how like heavier. And we got some wood out there, and I can kind of show you. But I'm not gonna have too much wet wood. But we can kind of show you. But I think if you want to build dirtier smoke, it starts within the fires. Um, like how far are your splits together when you have them stacked up? Like that's when it comes down to fire management. Like I know I can put a split on, a wood split on, and know, okay, I need this to get dirty for the first 10 minutes and then not be for like the next, 10 after that, and it's just reps. And it's just living and learning, you know what I mean?
So it's not like this demo has actually field trip component through it. So before we open up the garage door and for people to see the actually the barbecue and smoking and smoker and everything else, any other things you want to show here, or is it a good time to kind of move into
yeah,
the
I think it's a good
second?
time. I would sit here and say, like, yeah, most important thing, you want to cook the best brisket possible. Just start with the trim. Yeah, it starts with the trim. Just make sure there's no thin edges, nothing that will burn off over 12 or 14 hours. Like I said, this is more of a dressing trim from us, just because, like I said, we use so much of the byproduct for everything that we sit here and do over. But yeah, and don't scalp it like I did. Try not to. You know what I mean? I told myself, like, watch me just scalp, make one big scalp, and kind of everything. And of course, it was on the last cut too. So, but sometimes that's just part of it, and I think that's what's so much about barbecue. Like, I mean, sometimes your fire's gonna sit here and peak. Sometimes stuff's just not gonna, turn out the way you want. But um, you just got to keep getting after it. It's I've messed up so many briskets, and even just switching to this one, like these primes, like my first like probably 3-4 cooks with these primes. I was messing them up. They were still good, but I was not up to my standard, or not up to the standard that I was cooking other briskets. Um, but it's, yeah, just like anything in life, just keep getting after it. We always say, like, keep stacking days. um like no matter what, like it's a long process. Life be life in sometimes. So you just gotta, just take it one day at a time and just keep getting after it. So
Let's use this pause to first thank the chef
Yeah.
and for great work here. And we also use the time to switch over
Yeah.
to we'll open up the garage door
Absolutely.
to go over there. I think this is going to be a transition. We hear Chef talk about what happens actually on the smoker.
Yes.
Meanwhile, again, feel free if you need any tours or any information to Steelport and ask questions in next batch. Is a good time to switch over?
Yeah. Great time. Any other questions, please don't hesitate to, speak when we're out there too. And right now.
I was curious, like, talking to your sister about buying brisket, anything that they asked you?
I'll probably say thick fat cap. Thick fat cap. So you can kind of get that down to just what you want. And then thick flat, like a thicker flat, because a lot of times that flat is super thin. And then, like I said, I had to cut so much of that off. If you don't have to cut like at home, if you don't have to trim a ton of it, then that's super ideal. Then unless you got a meat grinder, unless you got a you got a sausage maker and all that other stuff, then it's like, what are you gonna do with that trim? But I will sit here and say, like, we do a lot of barbacoa with this trim too. So we'll wrap it up and we'll throw it on this, like, well, not wrap it, we'll like season it, and we'll just throw it on the smoker, let that kind of get barked up, and then we'll put it in like a hotel pan or a pan, and then we'll wrap it with banana leaves. I'm extra, so you ain't got to do all that. So, but yeah, just wrap it up. Throw a lid over the top and kind of just let that braise down. So we do a lot of tacos. Like, I love tacos, and we just try to use excess. You know what I mean? All this extra byproduct, and just try to do something different than just burgers and sausage. Because both those are kind of a process and you require other equipment. While barbacoa, like tacos, you don't need any of that. Throw everything in a pot, hit it with adobo seasoning or kind of whatever your favorite taco seasoning is, a little bit of liquid, and then and just let it braise down until it's fork tender. All right, so right out here, this is my baby Amelia. So this is my 500-gallon. She is an absolute workhorse for me. I've had her for about 3 years, and yes, it's my baby. So right now we got like 4 briskets on, going. Right now we're about to enter the stall. Right now, as you can see, this moisture is accumulating right there. You can tell. So I can right there. This lets me know that the point is cooking and is a little bit further than my flat. And of course, we expect that just because those points are so fatty. That's gonna almost just cook itself. So at this point, once we kind of get further in the stall, we will flip these. So the flat is facing the fire, and then and kind of just let that kind of catch up to that point. But yeah, right now we're kind of just letting it do its thing. So I'll probably say this is probably in the second part of the cook. So the briskets have already kind of tightened up. So I put these on at 5 this morning. Yes, I got like 2 hours of sleep. So yes, and this one, yes, if you wanted it, you want a wood fed smoker, then you don't sleep, you won't. But yes, so right in this door we got some stuff rolling right now, some goodies. I think we just got sausage going, and we got some portobellos on as well too. Just some bites for you guys as well. But yeah, so this is like sausage is a all beef link. So we take that same strap and we make our kind of house sausage, which is just a black pepper beef for us. So like there's mustard seed in there, garlic, onion, of course black pepper, and then our liquid base, I think for this one was just water. And the other sausage we did earlier in the week was I think it was a roasted poblano. So so roasted poblano walk-in sausage, so cheesy sausage. So I did not bring any of those, and I'm sorry I brought it up. So but yeah, so I think right now we do have some briskets going that we're gonna get sliced up for you guys to kind of try. And we have some barbecue sauce, we have some pickles, and we're gonna slice some of these portobellos up too. If you guys are not meat meat liking. So yes, I appreciate you guys for making this, you know, making this so fun. So thank you. And for real, like yeah, we do pop-ups on Saturday and Sundays over at the yard. If you give us a follow on Instagram, that kind of will highlight our events page on our website as well too. We'll have all that stuff too. Yeah. So it's I call it the yard, and that's what we kind of push it. I guess there is a place called the yard, and I guess some people have went out there. But there's, if you know where the Burgerville is, right on the corner of Hawthorne and like Clay, right there. We're right across the street from there. And there's a coffee shop, Upper Left Roasters, just right down the road. Yeah, we're right on that same strip.
Do you have a website?
Yeah. We have a website. Yeah, definitely. If you guys have Instagram, we're probably a little more updated on our Instagram than anything else. And I know some people don't, and we're trying to make sure we're a little more consistent when it comes down to the website as well too. So, um,
How long do you let the brisket rest?
I rest down to around like 145, 150. So once the briskets feel tender and they're coming off, I will let the briskets come down. To like yeah, 150, 145. It kind of just depends on like doneness. So if I feel like something's a little more, if that flat is a little more tight than I would like it, then I'll put it in the warmer around 165 instead of 145.
About how long is it?
It's like about, I'll probably say maybe 45 minutes to an hour. It kind of just depends. Like, of course, we're resting outside, so
The ballpark, keep it 45.
yeah. And I honestly, rather than like cooking, I think your rest is just as important as well too. Being able to kind of rest that protein down. I know you're like super excited, and you're like, okay, like with that steak you just cooked, I just want to cut into it. Let those juices kind of just soak back in. At that point, we will wrap. I know you guys sat there and asked about wrapping. At the very end, we wrap and then we push through. Um, we'll throw some towel. So we'll take some of that fat that we rendered down. We'll put it in the bottom of some foil, and then we'll wrap in that. So we try to let all that fat kind of just soak back up into that brisket, and then we'll throw it in the warmer. So our warmer usually sits at 155 overnight. And all those briskets just go straight into that warmer once they're rested down, just so they can kind of just still continue to just render that top fat. So, and just kind of keep cooking, and then so it's a process. Yes, it's a process.
Is there any seasoning that happens?
Yes, yeah. So we use salt, pepper, and then 14 hours of tender love. So that's what we use. Yes, it's very like brisket is probably one of the most demanding cooks there is. But it's the most sought after, and it's one of those things. I played sports growing up. I played sports in college, so I'm super competitive with myself more than anything else. So it's like, how can I get this to be better? You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's salt, pepper is a big chunk of meat. So please, like, don't feel like you're gonna over season. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, you can always over salt, but it can hold a lot of seasoning. And that's one of the reasons why we put that tallow in that foil when we rest, simply because like we'll try to cut like a test tray, like a quality control tray before we go into service to see the seasoning of it. If the briskets came out a little bit salty, we'll take some of that tallow and we'll pour it over that brisket, and we'll kind of just pat it around, just so it kind of not blends it out, but just calms that salt down a little bit. Yeah. And yeah, we can. We'll start slicing. Yeah, we'll start. Yeah, getting these proteins on, and we'll start slicing. If there's anybody that wants like mushrooms, then yeah, then you guys can definitely have some mushrooms, and we'll slice that for you guys. So, all right, boom. You got yours? You're good.
I got the briskets are inside.
Okay.
And pull the rest of the portobellos
Okay.
and the sausages.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me.
So now the chef has 4 cutting boards. He actually demonstrating two-sided.
Yeah.
One side for the juicy, meaty raw meat, and the other side for the presentations.
Yes.
And
Yes, these
Doing
cutting
the
boards are
cooks.
so convenient. Just because, like I said, like on the back side that you guys saw earlier, this is what we were cutting right here. You know what I mean? So, so you can just flip it over if you're in a rush and you just need to sit here and like, okay, We don't have time to wash this. Let's do this, this. You know, then absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mhm. YouTube University. Like, yeah, during COVID, I mean, it wasn't anything but, and I had just got an iPad like a couple months before, um, and I very much turned into a little iPad kid during COVID. So I was very much watching a lot of YouTube during that time. So it was good. It was good. But I think everything I sat there and I learned from YouTube. I typed in how to smoke a brisket, and that's where I started. I still watch videos from time to time, like certain trimming videos, and of course, because it's how can we get better? You know what I mean? How can we sit here and like what new things? How I know there was a difficult time of like I could not get this part of my trim just right, like kind of that edge, and just seeing someone else do it and just that curving, and it's like, okay, like that's the angle I need to hit it at. And from there on, it's like, okay, I've just seen my brisket trim just get better and better. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, YouTube, you can't go wrong with YouTube at all. Okay, so we are going to do, I like this one right here for you guys. So boom, let me grab this. Yeah, so it's just a cotton glove. I would sit there and say yes. If you guys gonna do barbecue, grab some cotton gloves too. It saves you because there's like, you know, you like this. Yeah, just grab some cotton gloves and you don't even have to worry about it. We're gonna do some. Got some barbecue sauce here for you guys, and we have some pickles. So I'm gonna help kind of cut through the richness of a brisket. So this is prime. So it is rich protein. We'll set some of these out. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So this is, yes, please. So this is kind of our done brisket. So these briskets shrink. You lose about 50%, and that's why when you go to barbecue, brisket is so expensive. You lose about 50% of that total weight. So after trim, let's say you have a 14-pound brisket. So we probably trimmed off around 2 to 3 pounds, just for numbers sake. Let's say we trimmed off 2, so we're sitting at 12. During the cook, that we will lose about 50% of that weight, and our brisket will be at 6 pounds. So that's why brisket it's so expensive when you go to barbecue. It's something else. So that's why we just try our best to use as much byproduct as possible. So I am fortunate today to use their serrated bread knife here at Steelport. So they have created their own serrated design right here, that just makes things just so much easier. Because I mean, there's not a way for once you get a serrated, you're kind of stuck with it. If it gets dull, then you got to buy a new one. But yeah, they've created their own design and they've created their own way to sharpen it as well too. So great. So we're gonna get into it. I like to slice straight down the middle. I like to separate the two. So I will come here, and then this is kind of what we got. So this is your point. This is the point. This is the part you always kind of want to ask for. And then this is our flat right here as well too. So still choosing. See, I could have probably trimmed a little bit better right here, but we were kind of looking for that render. So see how there's no fat right here? That means that we rendered pretty well there. And then same thing too. So it came from the same side. Could have trimmed a little bit better as well right here, but I'm liking this. First cut. If you want to kind of know where your point is, you can always kind of feel underneath your flat. And it's always going to be a little bit softer than this side. Not always, it will be. So first cut, I'm going to get this decal out, set that to the side, and then I'm going to come down, make my first cut. So these are your burn ends right here. Like I said, give these to your favorite people. So with these two slices, as you can sit here and see, that rest is so important because we were able to rest this inner seam fat out right here. So there is a beam of fat that goes straight through. So we like to be able to rest that down, and you can see how well we render that top fat because it's non-existent and it's caramelized. So yes, that's what we try to shoot for each time. Yes. So I'm just gonna go through and start slicing. We're probably gonna start kind of cutting the. I think there's If you guys want a full piece, you guys can definitely probably have a full piece. I mean, yeah, why not, right? And so I'm gonna cut both. So I'm gonna cut some flat, and then I'm gonna cut some. Yeah, perfect. There you go.
Smoker for mushrooms as well. So
Yeah.
Advice to use the same smoker settings and things like that for mushrooms.
Yes, I think.
Not 12 hours, but,
Yeah, it's a real quick cook. I think we try to add smoke as much to everything we do. So even if we're like our veggies that go into our baked beans, we throw on. You know what I mean? Like even our verde sauce that we take our tomatillos and we just throw those on the smoker and kind of soften up. So it's just another way to do things. Even with those portobellos today. I mean, I think anything with a little bit of smoke tastes so much better than just not. You know. I mean, when you're at home, just play around with a couple things. See what likes, you know. A lot of veggies don't need to go on for too long. Just to, get that smoke. Sometimes we'll just throw some stuff on for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes just to get a little bit. And then we'll kind of just take it off and proceed kind of just what we need. We'll do what we need else with that product.
that makes sense.
And we have our sausage as well too. So like I said, so that beef trim that we use, we stuff. And I love making sausage because I mean the world is your oyster with this.